Hi, I'm Shantae Jennings. Today in Launch Lab, we are going to talk about what it takes when it comes to walking through big goals. We're at the end of 2025. I don't know about you, but I set lots of goals at the beginning and I haven't achieved all of them. So, am I disappointed? Yes and no. But the best way to handle that is to, of course, just move forward from it. Hanging out in the rear view mirror isn't really helpful. But you do have to acknowledge what were the things that held you back, what things worked. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because if you're here, you're probably thinking about starting a business or you're currently working in one and you're trying to grow it. So those are some of our goals for 2026. We want to have the best, most profitable year possible. And I'm going to go over four areas that are going to help us do that. So, like I said a minute ago, the first thing we have to do before we even start that four-step process is to look at what happened this year or what didn't happen. Do we know what really worked well? Do we know why those things worked well? Start to take some note of that because the things that went well, we can continue to do those things. But the things that did not go well, we want to address why we believe they didn't go well so that we can ensure that, hey, if that's a habit I currently have, I'm going to have to drop it and replace it with some different habit or some processes, which is going to be one of the things we talk about. Because most of the time, our failure to do something isn't really so much our fault as it's some kind of habit or routine that we already have, and we just either haven't acknowledged it or either we haven't found a way to drop it by replacing it with something better that we want. And we want to take some time to do that. So that's what brings me to the first phase. Although people resist it a lot, mindset, your belief patterns, your values, that's the first thing you want to focus on because before you can do anything, if you don't really believe you can accomplish those things, whether it's start a business, get a better paying job, become a content creator, whatever your goals are, if you don't truly underneath believe that it's possible for you, most likely you're not going to accomplish it. So, how do we get past that? There are several ways to get past that. Some of the things are really just getting to the point of understanding where these beliefs come from and getting to the root of them so that because the best thing about this is beliefs are just that, they're beliefs, they're not facts. So that means if it's a negative belief, you can replace it with a new one that you like better or that serves you better. A lot of our beliefs we know come from our childhood. We don't have to harp on that, but what we do need to harp on is how we're going to replace those negative ones with ones that really suit us, that benefit our new targets, our new goals, our values. So, however you want to approach that is up to you, but acknowledging that some of the things you may be doing may be rooted in beliefs that you have that you don't understand currently. They may absolutely be rooted in that. So we want to come to a conclusion that we are going to do exactly create the mindset and beliefs that we do want for ourselves. So, especially when we're setting really big goals, say you're currently working and you've thought, "Hey, I want to create this business that will, earn me so much income that I can just leave this job or maybe just create like a legacy, something really big." It sounds exciting, you're all pumped up, but underneath you may have like all this fear. You may be thinking about because our subconscious works to protect us. If we're thinking about doing something very different from what we're currently doing, we know how that ends. So before we start thinking about any of the plans that we have for next year, after we've analyzed what did work, what didn't work of this year, 2025, let's think about a couple of places that we really need to tighten our inner game. If you've struggled with imposter syndrome, as in believing that, who am I? Am I good enough to do this? What if I can't deliver? It's more likely that you can, because the fact that you're even thinking about that, what if, or I can't, believe me, so many people out here are just taking on roles and they have no experience and they're jumping right in. So if you're even thinking about that, you at least have, values and a conscience. But don't let that rule you. Don't let that imposter syndrome, because it's just another form of self-sabotage. You want what you want, create a system and a process, and you can get it. You don't have to worry about not taking care of clients if you have a process to take care of your clients. So the first thing is to shift your identity. If you're a hustler or employee, move into the entrepreneur mindset. Believe you're an entrepreneur now. Stop calling yourself anything else but an entrepreneur. And we don't mean entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs actually implement. We're not talking about dreamers. We're talking about doers. If that's the role you want, you have to step into it. Because for one thing, there's two different identities there. Whatever you currently have, you're moving into a role that implements, that thinks of everything in terms of, this is what I want for my future. This is what I'm going to do. Like, we'll use hustler versus CEO. The hustler will think, oh, I need to save money. I need to do all these different things myself. While the CEO will think, my time is worth $500 an hour. Doing $20 an hour tasks is not worth my time. So, I'm going to be leaving money on the table by doing that. See those two mindset shifts? Start thinking about yourself in that way. So the identity shift, removing the imposter syndrome. And the quickest way to remove the imposter syndrome is to actively just go do the thing. Just go do it. Whatever you're hesitating, just go do it. Rather than worrying about, oh, can I deliver? Just go do it. And you'll see that I actually can do this thing. And you might stumble and fall, which the next one comes at embrace imperfection. You don't have to be perfect to do these different things. When people need help, they usually don't want perfection. They just want a solution to their problem. They're not worried about this pretty, intricate form and website. They're worried about, hey, I got this problem. She says she can help me. Let's see. So stop worrying about perfectionism. Stop worrying about those things. You have to look a certain way, be a certain way. Go ahead and launch it. Just put it out there. When you build out systems, you won't have to worry so much about that, which is, part of the bigger system is having a thought out intentional process that you follow that will keep you implementing the whole way. And your zone of genius, that's another one. Focus on your zone of genius. You should only be doing three things: high level strategy, creating content or IP, and maybe your high ticket sales, especially if you're high ticket, a coach, or some type of service provider. Everything else must be delegated or even automated. We've got tools. We've always had automation tools way before people started talking about AI. So that was just the first step, getting your inner game straight, addressing your doubt, and having a plan for how you're going to handle when it pops up and when all the other issues about belief pop up. Next is going to be, what's going to be the offer? If you've got an ambitious big goal, maybe you've just started a business and you want to take it from 0 to 6 figures within the first 6 months. That's an ambitious goal, but you can't do it with a lot of small ticket things. I know a lot of people that sounds easy, like, hey, I should be able to sell this 20 ebook, but you don't know how much money you're going to have to invest in ads and other traffic to sell that volume. So look at your offer, look at what you're currently thinking, and move toward higher ticket, higher pricing, where you don't need so many clients or customers to get to your number. Sure, you'll be required to have some clarity around your offer, of course, but you're going to have that anyway. So look at the number you want to create. What do you want? How much do you want to make? Now, anybody that knows me knows that I don't like to focus on numbers too much. I like to set the framework because you need the numbers there. But after that, we don't focus on numbers so much as systems because you can control the systems. You can't necessarily control the numbers. And then people get too attached, stressed out. Let's put our energy into building out the systems that will ensure it's possible to get those numbers. So, do your math. What numbers are you going to need? What type of offer? And can I be controversial and say just pick one offer? I hear this so much. Oh, you gotta have this offer and that offer and that offer. If you're just starting and you have a really big ambitious goal, just focus all your energy on one nice offer, one great offer that solves real problems so that people are prepared to pay you real money for it. Leave the little, vitamin solutions to everybody else. You stick to the painkiller solutions. That way you can command premium pricing because it's a really big problem that people are willing to invest in. So, okay, what if you're just starting or haven't started yet? Or is this stream for event? Oh, absolutely. Oh, girl, I Christmas Eve, I feel like everybody's not necessarily involved in holidays, and I feel like if you're off and you got the time, I love to talk business. I love to do strategy. So here I am. And this planning is for you too, because I did this type of planning. Sometimes I did a little too much planning and not enough implementation, but that's a great question. You can use this for starting. We I was thinking about something on New Year's for if you want to create your business idea. In the chat, if you're interested in something like that, I could absolutely do that because I plan to be going live on New Year's Day. That's just a fantastic day for having new starts to create your new idea, figure out what you want to do, and hit the ground running. So if you haven't started yet, I would suggest you still figure out the amount of money you want to earn for if that's your goal, creating a business, and start to make an inventory of your skills and your experience because you probably already have a set of skills that you can monetize already. Without even knowing you, I'm pretty sure you probably have some skills. So start inventorying them. Maybe if you feel like, whoa, everybody knows how to do this, which was my problem, interview other people and have them, oh, yeah, I'm going to go live on New Year's Day. I feel like a new, fresh start. People just need some direction. And I think if anybody's bored or, I don't drink, so I'll be up and around. I won't have a hangover. So I will be up and ready to start this year off right. But if you don't have a business idea right now, think about the skills you have. Think about what people come to you for. For me, it was tough. So I went by, what do people consider me the go-to person for at work? Because I still had a job back then. What do people think I'm good at? What do they tell me I'm good at? And I went to my family and friends as well. I said, hey, you know what are some things you think I'm really good at that people, that you would always come to me for? Or do you think people might pay me for? And they gave me all this information. I was just like so surprised by the results. And I think you might be as well surprised because sometimes we think what we know how to do is just so, everybody knows how to do it. But then other people will tell you, hey, you're so great at this, or you're amazing. And I love when, you help me do whatever. So okay, start there. Start your inventory right now and start thinking about your mindset too, because when it's a new thing, like starting a business, I will tell you, I thought about a business for years before I actually started like stepping forward into it. I researched to research to research, and I planned to plan to plan, and then I planned some more. And then I kept thinking I need to know all this stuff when really I didn't really need to know anything. I just needed to do the stuff that I already knew how to do. And the rest will fall into place. And I mean, we got all these access to all these resources on YouTube, on the internet. The thing we really need is implementation. You just need to hold your feet to the fire or have somebody else hold your feet to the fire, give you some kind of framework and just take off. That's the biggest step. So, inventory your skills. And if you want some example of questions to ask, I have some questions I can come up with for our next live too. But I would love to go over choosing a business idea on New Year's. If anybody's open to that, I will show you how to take your skills and find your business idea from that. And then start checking with people quickly because you want to see if it's a viable idea right away. Because you can, like, maybe you make really good beef cupcakes, but people like your beef cupcakes. But when you start to go do research, you're like, yeah, nobody wants beef cupcakes. So figure out what your skill sets are, do the inventory, start asking questions, asking people, you know, if I had a product for that, would that be something you'd be interested in? You'd be surprised at the results because the whole thing is to, okay, I have to think about that. I have never worked for other people. Oh, well, you probably already see. Well, that should be easier for you, Kay, because when we work for other people, we're in this mindset of everything is done for us. So if you've not worked for other people, you know you have to do the things yourself. You know you have to do those things. But you can also use other people that you know, because people, when it came to me, I was pretty secretive at work about what I was doing. So I couldn't ask anybody I was like currently working with. I pretty much stuck with people that I knew or had known a long time. Okay, I have only worked for other people. I'm sorry. I have only worked for other. Oh, okay. So you've only worked. No, yeah, that should be easy too. But don't depend on thinking about that. Um, oh no, it's fine. All of us started out working for other people, but we realized working for other people that we want to work for ourselves. That's how I did. I was in the military. All I did was follow orders, and then one day I said, you know, I'm kind of tired of doing this. So what else is there? So I got out and I got a job following more orders. It was just a civilian job after that. But then I realized I still wanted something else. There had to be something else. So once you start getting that thought that you want something else, it's time to go after it. Even though I was, you know, hesitant. I was worried. I've only ever been in the military. I've only followed orders. I've only done these different things. But it didn't keep me from looking for some other options. Because if that thought keeps coming to you, I believe if you keep thinking, is this all there is? Is there something else for me? That means there's something else for you. And you should take some steps toward finding what it is. Because we all have something that we're supposed to be doing. And it doesn't involve other people's work. It involves something we want to be doing. So I hope that was helpful. It's okay that you worked for other people. It is not going to hold you back at all. Now, if you need some help with inventory, asking yourself the questions, even people that don't really kind of communicate and hang out with other people that might know their skill sets, we can work through that too. If we do that, just mention it, let me know, and we'll go over that on the first. Because I did talk to somebody that really didn't have anybody else to be asking. At least they felt like they didn't. So we just had a conversation back and forth. What's that? Kay says, can you tell us how you figured it yourself? I don't even know where to begin with something more. Yeah. If you want, I can tell you that now. We could talk about that right now. So when I was in the military, I'm a worker bee. I was a worker bee. I did my work. I followed orders. I followed rules. And from my background, that's kind of what I was taught. So it was okay. I mean, I was young. I was a single parent. I was taking care of my children. But as my kids got older and I got older, I thought, you know what? My kids are, you know, almost out of the house. What else do I want to be doing with my life? And then, you know, you look around and you don't see a lot of options, but I was very unhappy with my work. I was very unhappy with my work in the military. And once I got out, I was not so happy with my work at a job, but I thought, this is what we have. But then I kept getting this like feeling like, is this something else I can do? But I had saw the opportunity to start a business. I saw it at first and I was like, well, that's for other people. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. And then I'd put it aside. But then it would come back to me and I'm like, well, maybe I can do that. Let's do some research, because I do love doing research. I will research anything to death. So I did lots of research, a little too much research, but I did lots of research. And I kept coming back to these doubts like, Shantae, what you know how to do, everybody knows how to do. I kept coming back to that. And that was making me feel stuck, because I was like, I don't have anything special that people make lots of money for. I don't do anything. But the more I dug around and I looked, and then I would start to see people in business, I was like, oh, they're not even doing that right. I know how to do that. They're getting paid and it's not even right. Come on. Then I started digging deeper to see, is there something I can be? Loki, no. My dog, sorry. I said, there has to be something for me out here. There has to be something out here for me. I know it. So I kept looking. I got a couple of books to get started. And then I said, well, I don't know if I'm going to do this forever, but I just need something to get started. So you know what I started with? Virtual assistants, because I knew I had really good skills. Oh, my dogs. I know. Your dog's here. He's clowning. Oh my goodness. Anytime, any noise, he's like having a conversation. Oh my goodness. So I started, I'm like, hey, I could be a virtual assistant. I know how to do assistant stuff. I know how to do business operations. I know how to do all the software of all the different, tools. Shonda, hey, you may have already covered this, but how did you figure out pricing? Girl, pricing is a whole nother ball of wax. But I did figure it out. I started low, worked myself to death, and figured out, okay, this is too low. The first thing about pricing is do one person, maybe two people for free, and ask them to give you a great testimonial that you'll be using, and then do a low price point. Because as soon as you get 5 people in that price point, you need to raise your price. Especially, I'm talking about done for you services. Now, coaching could be the same way, but you may be doing something in a group program. But as soon as, like, you'll sell out if it's low. If it's low and you sell out, it's too low. So you're going to probably add another 0 after you finish those first 5, 2 or 3 people. But pricing is a bit more complicated, because most people, I try to tell people to have some kind of price at the beginning, especially if the thing about pricing is, if you don't feel confident in what you have because you haven't sold it before, you're not going to be able to sell high ticket without confidence. You have to feel like you know what it is. You have to feel. But these questions, Ty, these questions are phenomenal. I'm really glad you ladies are asking them, because they're all questions that come up when you're starting a business. And you just need to be able to walk through a formula for them. I mean, pricing, people think it's just, I'm just going to pick a number and be very confident and people are just going to pay it. And that's not how it works. It's really not. It's really about the outcome. Why do you think people that sell weight loss products or coaching, they're either starving or they're doing very well? Not because weight loss is definitely a painkiller problem. It's not about the confidence you have, or that you have a hot body on your pictures. It's the outcome they're promising. If you can promise the outcome that they desire, they're going to give you their credit card. But if you're struggling with the outcome, you're selling your features and not the benefits. That was the biggest mistake I made at first. I was talking about, hey, I can set up your marketing funnel, and I can set up your email set, and I can, set up your billing and invoicing. Nobody cared about that. I was like, hey, I can help you make more money quickly. Then everybody's ears perked up. Because they would make more money quickly if they had to take all these other pieces out of the time that they were spending instead of selling. Yeah. I thank you, Chandra. I think I'm going to make some notes, because pricing is a huge topic. Maybe office hours after. In January, I'm going to talk about that, because I really see a lot of people wasting too much time on these little low rent, low price things, and they have outcomes that could be high ticket, but they just don't feel confident. So go get those few people up front and you will be confident. Can you talk about more features versus benefits? Yes, Ty. Features versus benefits. Okay. The biggest thing is when we're new in business, especially when we're like coaches or done for you. My biggest mistake was, hey, I'm a virtual assistant. I will organize your back office so you don't have to worry about it. And I will set up this system and that system, your onboarding system and your billing system and your marketing, your sales system. I would tell them that. One more time. One more time. One more time. No. Come here. Lay down. He might want to walk. I think he might need a walk. Okay. Go for a walk. You gonna go for a walk? Okay. So features versus benefits in your business. If you are you don't have to actually take him out, Frederick. You don't have to. He'll be okay. He's not barking too bad. If you're selling services or even coaching, if maybe you're a weight loss coach, your features would be, hey, we have a weekly coaching call, and I have a food guide for you, and I have a video library that you'll go in and look at every day. You hear those things? Those are features. The benefits are you'll feel structured and organized. You'll have accountability because you're going to feel like you got weigh-ins. You know you're going to stay on track. Those are the benefits because the client is looking for what's going to help them get to their desired outcome. The features aren't really going to help them. You being accountable to them being accountable to you, you encouraging them, you not demanding, but having the weigh-ins that are going to push them to keep going, having some type of thing like check-ins during midweek when they might really work late and be tempted to eat a lot of junk. Those are the benefits. And that's what the client hears. And if you're just talking about features, he was talking about his benefits over here. He about to lose his benefits if he keep on acting crazy. Now he was asleep. He pretended like he been doing something all day, sleeping. Now he wants to be awake. So the features, that's just for us. The clients don't care. The benefits they care about. When we're talking about the benefits of what they get out of this offer, people get so excited when you're like, hey, I see that you really want to be a content creator and your channel, no, you're not getting any views. I can help you by creating a strategy that's going to make you more visible. It's going to make you the expert, see, that language is about benefit. It is not that you're going to have a strategic amount of videos that they're going to have to create, that you're going to mess with their thumbnails. That's features. The outcome, what the client wants, is more along the benefits that they're going to receive. So, see, now he hears me talking about them. So, so you know what? We really could, if anybody wants to talk about pricing right now, we could do an example if you want for pricing. But features and benefits control the pricing. Most of the time, when I would have a sales call and I would talk about, I'm going to create your marketing system and I'll integrate all your tools together, and that will be $700 a month. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that myself. But then when I say, hey, you're leaving money on the table because you don't client onboard, nobody comes back to your thing, so you're losing money. With our system, clients will stay. The new sales calls will come in. You'll be able to catch all the people that reach out to you. That way you aren't leaving any money on the table. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. That's a totally different conversation. So figuring out, first of all, what are the desired outcomes of your audience will control that. Kay is asking, I'll listen to whatever. It's nice to see people ahead of me. I might get some ideas. Oh, yeah, I think you absolutely do. That's how I got started. I attended a bunch of webinars for people that were slightly ahead of me because I didn't want to get so ahead that I didn't know what they're talking about. I don't mind being like, I know the techniques and the terminology because it was business terminology. I knew business terminology, but the areas I didn't get into were like when paid traffic and some of that, I wasn't doing it. And I knew I wasn't doing it, so I didn't worry about it. But the other things just made me, oh, is that going to be next on my list? I need to hone in on what I'm working on now, but is that something I need to look out for? So you definitely can look at what's going on ahead of you, because all of us start at the same spot. We were all where you are now, Kay, trying to figure out what our business idea is going to be. And the more time you spend figuring it out and kind of laying the plan out. I know people that jump right into something. I am a researcher, so that will never be me. But I do like to kind of get the idea, get a research, see what's going on around me, and then take steps to move. But don't follow me when it comes to like researching the researcher. That gets to be too much. Your first thing is to pick an idea and start to validate it. See if people are willing to pay for it, whatever that idea is. If you can get 3 or 4 people that's like, yeah, here's my credit card, you're on your roll. Stay away from relatives and friends though, because they're just trying to support you. You need to get strangers that have a problem to solve, because if they say they're going to pay you, then you know you're on your way. Okay, so the first phase was mindset. The second step is to figure out your offer. Now, the offers, I firmly believe you can do a couple of different offers. Most people kind of like try to do that. If they want to do high ticket, they immediately think, I've got to have an entry level offer. You don't have to, but if you feel more comfortable with that, it takes away too much time. I've learned that over time. I've always had some kind of entry level offer. And when I didn't have one, I got more done. That's just as simple as it is, because you can have something to downsell to people, but that's only if they absolutely cannot do your high ticket, then you can downsell them to your membership or your workshops or whatever else you have. But you want to focus. Remember, if we're focusing on a big goal, we want to lean toward higher ticket, over 2K or more, especially if you're a coach or done for you. So one main offer, and then maybe another smaller offer to support it. So yeah, the main offer. Let's figure that out. What's going to be your main offer for 2026? Your offer that's going to take you to the next level. Figure that out. If you don't have one right now, or you do have one, you may have multiples, figure out the one that you're going to focus the most of your time on. Do that. Think about that right now. What's the offer that I'm going to focus most of my time on? Because when you look at that offer, you're going to look at how you're going to promote it. You're going to look at how you're going to deliver it, and how, if it needs to be refined or changed in any way. Like maybe you've got something that's a little bit newer. Maybe you're tweaking your audience. You got to make sure, hey, I'm changing this offer. So let me make sure that the audience I was working with is still the same audience for this offer. Because it may not be. You may need to do a little tweaking, because I've evolved my business in maybe like 4 different periods over the past 10 years. It's been different things. And I say evolution is part of the game. It's going to be natural, because we're starting this from scratch. We don't know what we don't know. So you start with what you have, where you are. As you acquire skills, as you acquire experiences working with people, you may decide, hey, I started out doing this. Now I want to do something else. I started out with a virtual assistant business. And then I decided pretty quickly, yeah, I know more strategy. People come to me more for strategy and implementation than just me doing stuff for them. So let me change and move. And I tweaked my audience some too. That may happen for you. And in fact, it usually does. So don't worry if you end up tweaking or evolving to something else. It's okay. We feel so attached sometimes. This is our first idea, so I got to commit to it. If you've been doing it for at least 6 months and it doesn't feel right, or it feels like you need to be in a different direction, sit back with it for a minute, look at all angles, and then go ahead and move. Because if something is gnawing at you, most likely something needs to be changed. Don't hesitate to change things. You can do this. This can be a work in progress. Nothing has to be sealed at all. No decisions. You can make changes. Even with our offers, we can make changes with those as well. Ty, do you mind me sharing how you find your? Oh, I found my audiences initially. It's funny because I've always worked in stealth mode. I never told people at work. I worked for the government. I never told people I had a business. A few people I told at church, but the customers came from me doing workshops in the local community. I found my initial, and then I found them from connecting. Like I invested all my money in going to real events like conferences, workshops, membership organizations. Yeah, I attended. I joined some women because my target audience is women. So I joined some women's organizations. I attended several conferences a month. So I networked that way and connected with clients that way. I looked where my target audience was going, and then I found people there. And also local in the community, like I would host these workshops because in the library, you can't charge people for stuff. It has to be open to everybody. So I would host these little workshops and leave my little card, and people would come and look. And after a while, people would come and stay and ask me questions after. And I got some clients that way too. So that was my initial start. And then those people that I connected with, I will tell you, most of them came from those conventions, those conferences, those women's organizations. We had like the Coffee Connects virtual, because my business has always been virtual. I would just go attend those events because they were in different cities. Like I would attend stuff in Florida and Chicago and Wisconsin, different cities where they had these different events. I would attend them there. And I would take a weekend off or whatever and go to those expos and stuff. That's where most of the clients came. This was before pandemic and doing everything. I was already virtual. I knew I wanted to be virtual because I love to travel, and I knew I was not going to be attached to one particular, audience. Like in my local community, that was not me. So most of my clients were found from networking. And I say networking, the clients did not directly come. I connected with people, I followed up with them, and then they sent me clients, or either they became clients. And referrals were good because I did done for you service. I did 150%. I followed up a lot. They sent me people. So that's where initially I got my clients from. No, and that was, to me, that was a lot of work, but it was way more fruitful than social media. I've never really did anything with social media because I've never gotten clients that way. I stuck with what got me clients. Now I'm coming to YouTube more because it's so expansive. I mean, the audience is like the planet. So yeah, but I am definitely a fan of connecting and meeting with people in events virtually, in person. That has always worked for me. And I do, even though I'm an introvert, I still like attending things either to learn, for education, for networking and connection. So that was a great question, Ty. Thank you. In-person events. And honestly, I think people are kind of yearning for in-person because after, 2020, people went all virtual, but there's always a lot of people that want to connect with other people in person. That's what I love about retreats, because you get to be in person in a different environment, and you kind of like just hone in at this intimate small group of people. I love it. But in-person events, people feel more connected to you. And then when you have a system to follow up, because oddly enough, lots of people attend stuff and don't follow up with anybody. I know it sounds crazy, but people do. They'll be like, oh, I met all these people, collect a lot of business cards and QR codes, and then don't follow up with them. The follow-up, that's where the money is. You follow up with people. And I don't mean just follow up and pitch to them. I mean, follow up like they're humans and you met them somewhere and, hey, I love hearing about your cat Cutie, and did your grandkid graduate, and just connecting with people. So that is how I initially got clients. Those type of workshops do it. Virtually, you can do it. It's easier when you do it locally in front of people. Because like I said, I would be doing these little workshops. Sometimes it would be one person, sometimes it would be 10 people, but they all sign my little log so I could reach out to them. So we've talked about quite a bit here. And this is really just getting ready for next year, because just because this year didn't turn out the way you want does not mean next year has to be the same way. Absolutely not. Does not mean that it has to be the same way, because what we're going to do moving forward is going to be so different from what we did before, because that's the key. You cannot do what you did in 2025 because that did not work, obviously. We're going to have a new plan, and that's what we're going to do on January 1st. We're coming up with a new plan. This is the beginning of us thinking up a new plan, and it's not a lot of work. It's strategic, but it's not a lot of work. You can figure out what you want your goal to be, what kind of offer you're going to work the most on, even if you have other offers. What's going to be your primary offer? How are you going to market and sell it? And then how are you going to deliver it? Because it's funny enough that people spend a lot of time learning how to market, and they learn how to sell, and they think they know how to deliver till they have to deliver to 5 to 20 people. And they're like, oh, yeah, I know how to deliver to one person. But the delivery should be the easiest piece, because you can be hybrid, you can be virtual, especially coaches and service providers are different though, because you're doing something for somebody. So you better be really strategic with that. You better be really strategic with that, because you work yourself into, because I've done that too, work myself into a hole. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did these projects. But then you finish them, and then you have that after action report, and you know that, okay, I'm going to have to fix that. There needs to be a process. Figure out what model you're going to focus on. Are you going to have, well, first of all, if you're just starting, I do say focus one-on-one, because that's the easiest model, and you can get to your number goal a little faster because you can charge more. If you're not just starting from scratch, then you can start to expand curriculum, community. Chandra, do you ever send mass communications like e-blast? If you do, yeah, email marketing. I have Email Octopus, and I encourage that because it's a little easier than some of the other tools. Like I started out with Aweber, Active Campaign, and they got, wackadoodle automation. It's complicated for people that don't do that all the time. So I prefer Email Octopus, and I can give you a link for that later. I'll put a link in the thing. But the simpler, the better. Just make sure it's a tool that you feel comfortable using, because you're going to want to do this regularly, and you want to do it the right way. I've had so many people that I met them somewhere. I told them my name, and they add me to their email list. That is not how that works. You meet somebody, they're a contact. You offer them something and they say yes, then they're a lead or a prospect. You don't just throw people on your list. And I think that's so insane that people are still doing that in this day and age. But anyway, I like Email Octopus. People are using like Substack and some of the other ones. I prefer to stick to what works, and it's simple. So I think either Beehive, I think, is one that's okay. And when I say okay, I mean simple for beginners. You don't want to have a lot. You're already going to have a lot of tools. So you don't want any of them to be super complicated. So I think Beehive is okay. ConvertKit, that's a really good one. ConvertKit, but my favorite is Email Octopus. So either any of those platforms, and they have simple automations. They actually have pretty good free accounts too. Some of the other ones, I think you can't really start for free. So I don't really recommend stuff like that, because it's email marketing. You should be able to start for free. MailChimp used to be that way, but we're not going to talk about MailChimp. So ConvertKit or Email Octopus, my two favorites. So I hope that was helpful, Chandra. So delivery, if you want to have a curriculum, you can have some video modules, you can have your community. Now it doesn't, if a lot of people are doing school and circle and whatever works for you. Some people use Slack. They have communication calls. Other people use Facebook or school or circle or whatever. But you want to have, especially if you're a coach, you want to have some way to support people that does not require you to be doing a lot of one-on-one individually, because that can take you down a dusty path. So especially if you do have one-on-ones, you do want to have the support part be a general kind of organization where they can go to one place and people that are group and people that are one-on-one can put their questions there and make it kind of a simple process for you, but mostly for them. You can have for coaching group Q&A calls. I have office hours. These office hours are pretty much I do demos, I answer questions, and I do the same thing for the membership and my clients. Same thing. You can have super simple. And then the one-to-one, if you do have one-on-one, you have the check-ins. You can, believe it or not, have a simple midweek automated form that gets sent to them every Wednesday and it asks them certain questions and they have to answer the questions. And that's your midweek check-in. We can really have your deliverables be super simple when it comes to that. Oh, you're welcome, Chandra. But mindset, your offer, what your goal and your plan is for 2026, what your offer is going to be, what's your delivery platform, how are you going to market and sell it, and then how are you going to fulfill it? What are your plan for delivery, which is what we're talking about. Having some type of SOP. I've had so many people I work with that they do what they do, but nobody can help them. Nobody can help them because they don't have any SOPs. You want to have your SOP, which could just be a simple checklist that you got on a Google Doc, so that if something's going on with you, your neighbors teenagers can come in there and fulfill that box you have, physical product you have, or your cousin Bobo can come in and do whatever documents you have. Maybe you've got some documents that you have to create for clients. If you have a structured checklist and it's not a complicated process that other people can do, have the process. Then you can have anybody jump in and help you when you need it. You always, I mean, sometimes I say, hey, if you get hit by a bus, somebody needs to jump in your business and take care of a business and be able to. A stranger should be able to. And if they can't, there's too much going on that you are responsible for. You don't want a business that everything counts on you. You want to have something that if you have a checklist and you have to be out of the AO, that checklist, anybody could come in there and do that checklist. If they can read 5th grade level, they can knock out your checklist and make things happen for you. That should be your goal. Automate your onboarding right away. As soon as you start getting SOP, I'm sorry, that's the military talk. Standard operating procedure, which is really just what's your process you use to onboard people? What's the process you use for taking care of your clients? What's the process you use for getting paid? That's an SOP. Sorry, I'm bad with the acronyms. But the goal is to have a process for everything in your business, because when you have a process, it's repeatable. Things that are repeatable get done more often. Think about it. If you are a weight loss coach, but you have 20 clients and everything you do for each of those clients is different because you don't have it documented. The thing that really works, you won't remember it because you'll be like, I think I did that with Sharon, but I also did it with Susie Q. I don't remember what were, but those two got results and the other ones didn't. I don't know what I did differently. If you have a checklist and you go through that checklist with all your clients, you know what works. You also know what doesn't work, but your clients all get the same consistent experience, which is absolutely the goal. Systems give you the same experience, your client, your team, everybody has the same experience. So you know that the quality control is there. Especially if you start to hire like an assistant or you have a teenager helping you. If you have a checklist, you don't have to worry about things getting done your way because they're done your way because they follow your checklist. And that's all it is. It sounds complicated, but it can be as simple as a Google Drive checklist, a ClickUp document, however you like. It could be videos. I've got a couple of people that I work with. They just make a bunch of series of videos for whatever gets done. I've got quite a few videos just for showing people how to create an onboarding system. It's just a series of videos. That's it. So whatever method you like for documenting your processes, it can be a written checklist, it can be a paper notebook, as long as it's a structured process. That's the key to having an organized, consistent business. And figuring out what your client roadmap is going to be for yourself. Like, tracking all your clients from the first client you get to the last client from 2026. You want to have a roadmap of where those clients have, where they came in, what process they went through, all the way to the end, even when you off board, because the goal should be to keep clients as long as possible. That way you're not having all this churn and having to do the same thing to get new people all the time. Of course, you'll have to get clients, but wouldn't it be nice if you could get 100 clients a year and keep those clients because you're solving different problems for them? They're so excited and happy by your work, that you got another problem. Oh, she can solve that problem too. Let me go and start working with her for that one. That's a goal. That is definitely a goal. So that's where we talk about figuring out your quarterly roadmap, what you're going to do for Q1. And that's what we're going to talk about on January 1st. If it's figuring out your business idea, if it's figuring out what your offer is going to be, or if it's just figuring out if the idea you have is going to make you money. Your goal for Q1 should be something that's going to drive that whole year. So I hope this was helpful. Does anybody have any other questions? So I've gone on with a lot of information, but if you've got questions, let me have it. Oh, thank you, Chandra. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Kay. I'm excited to see what you have. I just have a feeling that you probably have something it's just hiding under you, figuring out in the inventory what it's going to be. But join us on January 1st. I'm sure you'll be able to come up with something good. Oh, thank you, Ty. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. If you don't have any more questions, that's it for me. But if you do have questions, I can hang out for a couple of minutes. I guess I gotta go get my buddy. Anyway, thank you, ladies, for attending. This has been a lot of fun. I will see you on the 1st if I don't see you before that.